as a fun puzzle and solving something that became really instilled into me to think about STEM as an option and an opportunity for me. Good, even with a large organization. I built the team from 50 to 650 people plus, with supporting 150 plus clients. Then we also looked at from the college hires and made sure that we have given equal opportunity for the college hires to bring in diversity.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of FaceTime with Leaders, the podcast series brought to you by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Priya George, and today I'm absolutely thrilled to have with us a true leader in the world of technology and engineering leadership, Ms. Gargi Dasgupta. With over 2 decades of experience, Ms. Dasgupta has led some of the most high-impact engineering teams across global giants like Palo Alto Networks, Walmart, and Groupon. She's been instrumental in transforming product strategies, driving innovation through AI and machine learning, and scaling teams that deliver user-first solutions that have touched millions. But beyond all these milestones, Ms. Dasgupta's leadership philosophy centers around empowering teams, fostering continuous learning, and creating environments where innovation can thrive. In today, we are going to dive deep into her career, the challenges she's faced, the lessons she's learned, and of course, her thoughts on the future of AI, technology, and leadership. So sit back, relax, and get ready for an insightful conversation with the one and only Ms. Gargi Dasgupta. Ms. Dasgupta, thank you so much for joining us on FaceTime with Leaders. It's truly an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you, Priya. It's my pleasure. I'm really honored to be part of this show today.
Let's get straight to it. Ms. Dasgupta, you've had an impressive journey from driving AI-powered growth at Palo Alto Networks to leading innovation at Groupon. But let's take a step back for a moment. Can you take us through your career journey? How did you get started in tech? And what were some of the key moments or turning points that really shaped your path along the way? We are excited to hear your story.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. When you start talking about my career, I actually like to go back all the way back to my high school days. When I first joined my new high school, I came across, a couple of awesome teachers who taught me physics and math, and they taught me in a way it made it really fun. As a fun puzzle and solving something that became really instilled into me to think about STEM as an option and an opportunity for me. So naturally, when I finished my high school, I joined engineering in NIT Allahabad. There I did electrical engineering. While doing electrical engineering, it came quite naturally. I didn't have to put a lot of effort into studying. I it instilled the love for systems and design and problem solving for me. So I went on and I moved to USA to do my master's. That was a big turning point for me, going abroad at that young age, and also in the 90s. There was a going to USA. That was a big turning point for me. Over there, I did my computer science. And after that, my first job out of college was with a company called US Order. We were the first bill payment system, the pioneers of bill payment system. This company later got bought by Visa. There, I learned a big lesson. The lesson that I learned was I was doing a lot of the reporting. At that time, the BI tools were just coming up and they were not, very nascent state. Not startups could, the startups could not manage to buy it. So what I did, I spoke with my seniors, and we came up with our own solution of a BI tool, which could enable the marketing, sales, support, and all the organization to self-serve and create their own report. From there on, the big learning for me has been that we are not solving the problem for today. We are looking at the big picture and solving the problem for the future. With that, I moved on and I joined Verizon Wireless. I went through the whole life cycle of Verizon Wireless in a long 9 years stint over there, and worked on the providing the cell phone activation within the SLA time of 10 minutes, and build the framework for fraud and detection of anomalies. So from there on, it was a pre-ML era, but we actually built the user-based signals that could actually show us what are the fraud. That instilled the love for actual security and application design within me. After the Verizon Wireless, I moved on. I came to India, and at that time, I helped one of my friend to set up his startup in India. The startup was in the field of collaboration tools and bringing all things related to emails, presentation, and everything related to a specific project into one single place. While building this, actually, I understood how startup works from the ground up, building the team, building the starting from renting a place to building a team to looking at the finance and everything. After the startup stint, I moved on with IBM. That's where I came into the position of handling a very large team. I was handed with 60 people. Until then, I was used to leading 10, 12 people. That was a big, huge learning with IBM, leading 60 people organization, how to set up the structure, how to set up the governance so that the quality remains good even with a large organization. I built the team from 50 to 650 people plus, with supporting 150 plus clients, and we were supporting their network infrastructure and IT infrastructure, databases, and you name it, everything that goes in the data center, it was being managed by my team. It's a huge learning for me that came through. And after the IBM experience, I got a call from Walmart. I moved back to Walmart, and over there, I learned to, again, start building teams across the globe. I was in USA, built a team in India, Shanghai, and our focus was to make database and the infrastructure as commoditizable as possible so that the people can self-serve and unblock themselves. From there on, I joined Groupon, where I basically, was responsible for the Groupon's international platform called Citadels. I worked on a journey with the other team members across the globe in both, Poland, USA, in multiple locations to break down this monolithic architecture, which was difficult for us to, add new features and, scale it, and broke it into microservices. Once that was done, we were able to also get certified for GDPR and the securities. With that learning, I moved on and I took the responsibility for the marketing engineering, where we built tools. We brought in, that was the first generation of applying AI and ML. We, brought in the users click-through stream, users sentiment, and we made the recommendation engine. Another one that we brought in was the hyper-local application, which basically, based on the customer's location, the merchants, we would, we would match the merchants and the location of the customers where they were, and built the product for the merchants to do a targeted marketing to them. With this, we saw huge 25% engagement and 20% growth in revenue. From Groupon, I moved on to Walmart again. This was my second stint at Walmart. The second stint, I managed the GTS, or the Global Technology Services, where we made developers' productivity as the centerpiece. If you look at any organization, the most expensive part for a company is their human resources, and especially if they're high-tech people, those are the most expensive resources. So as part of this team, we worked on making sure that the developers themselves are productive and solving only the business problem that they have to solve. And with that, I was able to bring in quite a few innovation like AI ops and improving the observability, building platforms that are reusable, bringing in a new application called AI API Lifecycle Manager, where the APIs were discoverable through the securities and others. People could actually consume it. That reduced the rework. As a large company like Walmart, where we have got tens of thousands of developers, most of them, we have the basic problems will be same. So they could actually discover and reuse what was already done by others. Then I got the call from Palo Alto as a VP of engineering, leading the SD-WAN product, which is part of the SaaS product line. What a journey it has been. It's been almost 3 years. It's been a great journey to be part of this, exponential growth of the cybersecurity industry. In here as well, I have brought in my, all my learnings that I've had. Security first, bringing in developer productivity so that the repetitive work can be avoided. And we, in the meanwhile, we also took quite a few risks so that we can actually shorten the life cycle. We took a lot of calculated risks and made sure that we are building the product which are secure, high quality, and improve the velocity at which the engineering went. With all this, looking back, I would say from my personal front, the two things that I really cherish a lot. One is forming the women's network in Groupon, where we basically, that was the time when the diversity and bringing in diverse culture was something that was being discussed. So as a team, we brought in the diversity and built the team. And the second one that I'm really proud of is forming the Innovation Council in Palo Alto, where we have been building in a lot of cutting edge technology and innovation.
Right. That's really
now the journey still goes on.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to Directors Institute to make my journey through and make the next stage in my life and move on to the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's really inspiring, Ms Dasgupta. Hearing about the challenges and successes you've encountered will definitely resonate with many of your audience. Moving on, you've been a visionary in leading AI-driven innovations at some of the most prominent tech companies. Your strategic leadership has driven significant growth, especially at Palo Alto Networks, where you helped grow the Prisma SD-WAN product line by 50%. Can you walk us through a pivotal moment where you had to take a calculated risk and how it contributed to the success?
Thank you for asking that. A growth like this does not happen based on one risk or one thing that we do. It's been a journey. The way I look at a growth is always increasing the top line through innovation, through building new products, and reducing the bottom line by being more productive and being able to deliver more features and more required, required uh, products to the customer as fast as we can. So we worked on both sides. First, we worked on the top line with our product management. We have an excellent product management team who are connecting with the customers and looking at what is new and how to bring innovation. One such thing, the example that I would like to talk about is we brought in the IoT security through the Prisma SD-WAN. And then we also brought in the new FedRAMP and certification, as well as IL5 and others, which increased our top line and opened new venues of making product sales. From the bottom line, that was where the engineering excellence is. I get really excited when I talk about it, is because that's the excellence that the engineers can bring in, and that's where the engineering management can bring in the governance and the innovation. We brought in innovation in terms of bringing in AI for code generation, if most people are doing that. What we brought in is, from the PRDs, when the product requirements are built, we are bringing in tools, AI-driven tools, which can actually read through or based on some assistance still right now. But I think eventually I would like to go from the product PRDs, where we can actually create test cases. We can create the unit test cases. We can create the the QA test cases, and reducing the quality time and left shifting the quality to the development phase. We also, did the bottom line reduction by bringing in security first thought. So by doing a lot of this left shifting and bringing in AI-driven tools from the CI/CD to the AI, threat detection, and to the application of AI in the testing, in both unit testing and and quality testing, we were able to bring in a lot of the growth. One challenge, if I would like to mention in this, like you talked about, where did we take a challenge? We actually took a big challenge last year. I remember early last year. We had one of our system which was running on very old code base, and it was on a VM-based code, where the rest of it was on the containerization. So to bring everything into containerization, we took a huge risk. We said that we will actually build, another new system and move everybody to the new system at one go, while having the rollback option to go back to the VM-based system if something were to go wrong. We did a lot of testing for 3 months. Initially, the movement from the VM-based to the containerized was supposed to be taking months, if not years. We reduced it down to less than 3 months, and we were able to take it. We took the calculated risk, knowing that we had an option to roll back and go back to where we were without really impacting our customers.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
That really increased our velocity as well as productivity, because we didn't have to work on multiple systems, and we started concentrating on one single product.
Right. It's amazing to hear how your calculated risk led to such tremendous growth. It's clear how important it is to embrace challenges to drive innovation. Ms Dasgupta, your leadership in introducing initiatives like Women in Groupon Tech, you had just briefly touched upon it in your response to the first question. It speaks to your commitment to fostering diversity and inclusivity in engineering leadership. How do you see the role of diversity and inclusion evolving in the tech sector, and what steps do you think organizations should take to truly empower diverse talent?
Thank you for bringing that's really close to my heart. So, going back again, when I started my career in the 90s, the diversity was not a topic that anybody talked about. It was a male-dominated industry. In early 2000, the talks about diversity got started, and it was mostly through, how much percentage of diversity was there. It was percentage based, and we started really talking about it from 2010, 2015 onwards, when I was in IBM and Walmart. We started really looking at diversity as not only women, it's also diversity with people with special needs, and LGBTQ and racial differences. Because when you look at it, the customers that we sell our product to are all diverse. It's not the single gender or single race that we are addressing. Unless we bring in the diversity in the process of building product, the product is not going to be something that will engage people who are using it. So I think that's where this started. And when I started the journey with Groupon Women in Tech, it was an amazing journey. We had brought in quite not only mentorship but also sponsorship, meaning we made some of our senior leaders as the sponsor for some of the women in the industry, and made sure that they spoke about them in during their projects. Whenever there are impacted projects that were there, they talked about them during their reviews. So that helped in bringing the women's view and also helping them out. Next, we also did is looked at each person's each leaders. Unless we have a goal, we don't really make it happen. So we made goals for each of the leaders to have certain amount of diversity in their team, so that they can build the diverse community. Then we also looked at from the college hires, and made sure that we have given equal opportunity for the college hires to bring in diversity. Next, we looked at from holistic, not from the hiring. It's also from the the sponsorship gave us the opportunity to have the women view being brought in the boardrooms and other places. Next, we brought in the review process. We made sure we had a look at the review process and made sure that we didn't have a bias, or silent or unknowingly sometimes we have biases. We made sure that in review process we looked at it and made sure that we are not having any bias creep in when you're doing the review. And then next was bringing there are a lot of women or people who had to take break. It's not only women, there are men also who take a break because of family reasons and others. So bringing people back to work is also something that we had, like bring her back to work, and giving opportunities for the people who had taken a break to bring them back into the work. And we had seen people doing amazing work through these programs. So, with all of these, we were able to, bring the awareness of diversity and the impact of the diversity that it has on the product. Again, on the product side, as you can see these days, even in Palo Alto products, we have the accessibility. Now we have people with special needs. So we are, building products for people with special needs with accessibility controls and other things. So I think it goes on. It's really a close and interesting topic to my heart.
I completely agree. And it's inspiring to hear how these initiatives are shaping and can shape the future of tech. It really shows how leadership can influence real change. Ms. Dasgupta, you've had the incredible opportunity to lead and build teams that span across multiple countries and continents. And I can only imagine what a fascinating challenge that must be. Now, with such a global presence, how do you manage to maintain a cohesive company culture?
That's very interesting, and it's something we have to work on all the time, right? So, for me, what I believe is the company core value. Every company has core value. Palo Alto's core value is disruption, integrity, execution, and few others. So we make sure that the core values get instilled into each person when they get hired. We have some training, we talk about it. Our reviews are based on that. So when we have such core values that are already laid out by the company, and the core values are distilled down to each and every employee, they feel belonging to something larger. They feel belonging to the whole organization. Now, when we implement it, is sometimes is different. Like, say, for example, disruption and execution is based on the product that you're working on, or based on where you are. We say, for example, disruption for engineering means, we are bringing new thought, new discoveries. For execution, it means how fast are we doing it, how the quality is. So as part of that, we brought in the, architecture review, product review. So we do we are very mindful about doing these architecture review, threat reviews, and all the reviews and the code reviews across the globe. Make sure that our counterparts are review our code and we are reviewing them. There is a communication that happens, healthy discussion, healthy debates on how our architecture should be done, how our implementation should be done, takes place. Making, with that, like, there are culturally some people, some areas where they wouldn't speak up otherwise. So we give them specific topics and things like this, like, a technical discussion to have this conversation so that this culture across the team gets built. Now, we also have the time difference challenges. So how do you overcome that? Making sure, like, we are continuously talking, and have it is quite heavy on touch, setting up one-on-one, setting up group team meetings, setting up the, technical know-how sharing. All of these frameworks helps us to, build that culture of belonging. And nowadays with the, the collaboration tools, it's become much easier for people to collaborate through videos, or editing the same document, or editing the same GitHub code. So, but being mindful and, instilling the core value of the company is something that we have to do, and then implement on top of it is how I have led the collaboration efforts.
That makes sense. And it really paints a powerful picture of what true leadership looks like in such diverse, dynamic teams. So thank you for your very insightful response, Ms Dasgupta. You've made such an incredible impact in tech leadership and innovation, especially with your work in scaling teams and driving AI-driven growth. Now, looking ahead as you continue to grow in your career, what are some of your aspirations for the future? Specifically, how do you see yourself evolving in the boardroom, and what kind of influence do you hope to have in shaping strategic decisions at the highest level?
Thank you for asking that. As you can see, I have grown from hands-on developers in the early 90s through 2000 to the leadership role, executive role in Palo Alto. I am a technologist at heart, but at the same time, I have understood and believed in the, governance and being able to make the, technologies and the voices of the technologists heard. So as I look ahead in my career, I envision myself being part of the boardroom and being able to influence some decision. As a leader for, a product line like Prisma SD-WAN, I have been able to influence the decisions within the product line and within the SASE products. But the real decisions, the real, direction happens from the boardroom. So I would like to be part of that and see my journey, have an influence as part of the directors and the board of directors, influence my technology knowledge, AI, at, the speed at which the AI is coming, have that influence on the board, and make sure that we are able to build the companies that we have, not only in the technology, but in other sectors as well, like the SME sectors and others, have that technological side. We cannot to impact the growth for the company. So I envision that if I am part of a board, I bring in that knowledge of business coupled with my knowledge for technology and the hunger for innovation and changing and disrupting through a structured process where, as a board members, we have a lot more influences where we can actually push that down.
Right, right. That's incredible. And it's clear that your passion for leadership, driving innovation, learning will have a profound impact as you continue to evolve. With your vast experience in leading engineering teams and driving innovation, corporate governance plays a key role in ensuring long-term sustainability and ethical practices. Ms. Dasgupta, how do you see corporate governance evolving within tech companies, especially as innovation continues to accelerate?
People think that governance and corporate structure will have an impact on the innovation, but I don't see it that way. When we formed the Innovation Council, we did put the guardrail. We put like, what's our goal? What do we need to do? So if you're talking about innovation, unless you set certain goals and you set certain milestones on how to how to judge it or how to evaluate innovations that we're making in terms of whether it's impact in term for the business or on the ethical impact, is not really, it cannot be fulfilled. Talking about, say, for example, innovation that we did in Groupon as part of the hyperlocal product, the innovation had to have a time boxing, because unless we innovate and immediately go and implement it, there will be other competition in the market. There is a very competitive market. People, the faster you go and you get your foot wet and you get a taste of it and get the customers get a taste of it, others will take that market for you. So, you have to have that governance, milestones and goals and what you're trying to reach as part of that. Second thing is, you talked about ethics. Of course, ethics matters because, unless we as the board members or the leaders, as I'm the technology leader, the ethics is crucial. And unless the leadership and the leaders in the company, the boards, make ethics as the number one, the product is not going to be something that we can actually help the community. We are building products to help the community, help the people evolve and progress. So one example would be like when we started building the AI products, like in Groupon again for the hyperlocals, making sure that the privacy and the customer's location remains such that we are not able to, like, we can find out in a general vicinity where they are going to be, but not exactly where they are, because of course, like, you need to have the privacy and respect the customer's privacy. Besides that, for example, the changes that you're making to the co-pilots, where the customers are able to find out, in case of Palo Alto, we have the co-pilots where the customers can come look for the documentation or exactly like, how they need to configure their products. We need to give them the data and value only what they are allowed to look into. So, so that they are not looking at somebody else's data and making some decision. Correct. So with all of those, the ethics and everything becomes really important, and the governance and the oversight is must. I have been practicing it in my current journey on leadership, and I think I believe in this.
Right, right. And that's such a valuable perspective. It's clear that the challenge of balancing cutting edge innovation with strong governance is more important than ever, especially as tech companies scale globally. Uh, Ms. Dasgupta, as we near the end of the interview, it's really exciting to have you here on the podcast, especially as someone who's recently joined Directors Institute. So, before you leave, could you share with us what motivated you to take the step of joining Directors Institute and how you think the courses and the insights from the Institute are or will contribute to your leadership journey moving forward?
So for quite some time, I have been thinking, what's next? I'm here, and as I said, in my position, I can make certain decisions, certain strategies. But how do I make sure that the knowledge that I have, the strategic learning that I have, I can implement for many more, and have a exponential impact. So as a result, I have been looking into how to be part of the board members and um, work with the other board members. I do see uh, certain boards and board members do need more technological depth, because many of them, they do come with a lot of knowledge in other areas. But somebody like me coming with the technology depth, I will be able to help in that area. um, Besides that, I think, I started looking when I made a decision that I want to move my career in that direction. I started looking at all the programs that are available. I evaluated, I had a lot of discussion about joining DI. And what really interested me in is the self-paced learning that you have and all the
Right.
support. I have started taking the LMS, and I already see the impact in terms of the in my leadership and in thought that I have. The area that I would really like to get into is the audit committees. Basically, with my knowledge in technology, and I would be able to be part of the audit committee and look into how things are implemented and how the companies are going through their audit and securities and compliances in place. So I found that DI is giving me that kind of information and a lot of other things. Like right now I'm talking to you, that's another thing
Right.
which I found as a differentiator for DI, and building my brand. Sometimes the people like me who are technologists at heart, we are shy about talking about ourselves and building our own brand. So
True.
thank you for being partner to help me to build my own brand.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all ours. And it's great to hear how the Institute is contributing to your professional journey, and it's a step in the right direction. So thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Dasgupta. It's truly been an honor having you on FaceTime with Leaders. The insights you've shared today about leadership, fostering diversity, and the future of tech have not only been enlightening, but also incredibly motivating. Your commitment to empowering teams, driving positive change in the tech sector is something I'm sure we can all learn from. So, thank you so much for joining us again on FaceTime with Leaders. It was truly an insightful and inspiring conversation.
Thank you, Priya. And as I said, I'm really honored and humbled by being present in this forum to talk about myself. Thank you.
The pleasure is all ours. And to our audience members, we hope you've enjoyed this incredible conversation and that you take away valuable lessons that you can apply in your own careers and lives. The stories and perspectives shared by leaders like Ms. Dasgupta provide us with a unique chance to grow and be inspired by their paths to success. Whether you're in tech, business, or any industry, there's always something new to learn from these trailblazers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to FaceTime with Leaders so you don't miss out on more impactful conversations with industry leaders, innovators, and visionaries. We have plenty more episodes lined up that will deep dive into leadership growth and the future of business. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and most importantly, keep leading with purpose. This is your host, Priya George, signing off. Until next time, take care, everyone.